You killed my son, Christian Gwynn. You took my son away from his father.
Is it funny?
Sir,
Is it funny? You want to crack a smile, man?
I just wanted him to just kill me already.
The man convicted of killing a Louisville father and his daughter has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge acknowledged that the sentencing wasn't easy, but ultimately he had to make a fair decision, which left loved ones heartbroken. Judge Michael Vann fought back tears as he tried to reach out to Kevin Lawless one last time.
That you can't react to this or trying not to react to this, but I hope that that's all a front. I hope that you feel this the way that other people do. Because if you don't, then you are a monster. You are evil.
Lawless was found guilty of the murders of Brandon Waddles and his daughter, Trinity Randolph. During a hearing in September, a jury recommended 2 life sentences without parole. However, prosecutors and Brandon's family were seeking the death penalty for Lawless. Brandon's mother, Becky Waddles, spoke emotionally before the judge's final decision.
The monster, Kevon Lawless, who was involved in killing my son and my granddaughter, needs to be held accountable for what he's done. I won't get my little Trinity, I bring him back, but Kevon Lawless should be punished to death for his action.
He said that her plea made the judge's decision even harder to announce.
The saddest thing I think I've ever been associated with. So I feel that. And I have to keep that separate from the decisions I make too, but man, I feel it.
Ultimately, the judge sentenced Lawless to 1 life sentence without the possibility of parole, which left Waddles' mother visibly upset. Prosecutor Ryan Conroy expressed hope that Waddles' loved ones will eventually find peace with the ruling.
It's understandable their position, but I completely respect the jury's decision, and life without parole is quite a punishment. Deserved, but it's quite a punishment.
Lawless can appeal his sentence in the future. It was a chaotic scene in the courtroom as a grieving family confronted the man who pleaded guilty to killing their son and brother. The victim's father was infuriated by what appeared to be a smirk from the defendant, leading to a heated confrontation.
You killed my son, Christian Gwynn. You took a son away from his father and a brother away from his siblings, and for that you will never be forgiven. You think you tough, but for real, you a coward and you a disappointment to your family and people out here in the community.
Is it funny, bro? Is it funny?
Sir,
Is it funny? You want to crack a smile, man? You want to crack a smile,
I'm gonna
bro?
have to ask you to leave. I wish the judge would give you forever.
Don't laugh at man.
I wish you would get forever for taking away my son.
Don't say nothing.
How you gonna get kicked out too? Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, because they're gonna kick you out.
Better not say nothing about
Say your
that.
words.
That was the emotional scene as 22-year-old Jimmy Geoghegan was sentenced as part of a plea deal for killing 19-year-old Christian Gwynn. Police say Gwynn was gunned down in the Shawnee neighborhood while walking home just days before Christmas in 2019. Geoghegan wasn't arrested until 2 years later. After Geoghegan was removed from the courtroom, Christian Gwynn's mother and sister continued their victim impact statements.
You killed a great man, and for that, I hope forever your days are hard and you never see the sun again. I hope he hurt you. I hope he hurt you in your sleep. I hope you rot in this.
Hayden was sentenced to 10 years for complicity, manslaughter, and other charges, with credit for time served.
As torn apart as you are, I would like you to walk out of here at least knowing that there is nobody here who thinks your loved one's life was only worth X number of years. There is no equivalent. So I appreciate what you said.
The judge also stated that Hayden was not eligible for probation due to the seriousness of the crimes involved in this case. Dawn Coleman was sentenced to decades in prison. She is one of 2 people charged with the death of Cairo Jordan, who was found dead in southern Indiana last year. Cairo's death shocked the small community in Washington County, Indiana, near Salem after a mushroom hunter discovered his body in the woods in April 2022. It took months for Cairo to be identified, and he was initially buried as the boy known to be God. Don Coleman was charged with aiding Cairo's mother, Dean Anderson, in his murder. Coleman showed no emotion in the courtroom and chose not to speak. However, the judge didn't hold back before handing down her sentence.
Unfortunately, the walls of your jail cell for the next 25 years will be nothing compared to the walls of that suitcase. I hope the image is forever etched in your memory. It was thought that this child was possessed by the devil, but it's you, Don Coleman, that has the devil in your soul.
Judge Larry Medlock spoke passionately after learning that loved ones didn't show up in support of Cairo Jordan. As part of Coleman's plea deal, Medlock announced she will serve a 30-year sentence. The first 25 years will be spent in the Indiana Department of Corrections, with the remaining 5 years suspended, during which Coleman will be on probation. Attorneys also mentioned that Coleman will testify against Cairo's mother, DeJean Anderson, once she is found. After hearing, Sergeant Carrie Halls with Indiana State Police provided an update on their efforts to locate Anderson.
Very active investigation, any lead, anything that we can do to locate the mother in this case is what we're going to do. I'm confident that that will happen, that we will find her. Again, innocent until proven guilty, she needs her day in court. We want her to come here and answer for that, to give her side of the story, but until we find her, we're not going to stop looking.
For the first time, a girl came face to face with the man accused of killing 2 of her family members with a butcher knife right in front of her. Jermaine Agee is charged with the murders of Mayra Garcia and Jaden Taylor, Alexis Taylor's mother and younger brother. Remarkably, Alexis could recount this story publicly for a second time. You can tell she is determined to be the voice for her mother and brother. Alexis Taylor says her mother's ex-boyfriend broke into their home and attacked them with a butcher knife in the middle of the night.
I just wanted to die. I just wanted him to just kill me already.
Alexis expressed her desire for people to hear the story directly from her. She recounted how Jermaine Agee killed her mother and brother right in front of her.
I just saw my brother and I just wanted to help him so bad, but I couldn't. He started hitting my mom in the head and he hit me again.
She told the same story to a judge, breaking into tears as she described her decision to run for her life.
I wanted to go back so bad, but I couldn't. I couldn't go back. I knew my brother was dead. I knew he was my mom. But I knew that if I would have went back, we would have all died.
That's Maria Garcia's mother, surrounded by several other members of the Garcia and Taylor families. It was a very emotional afternoon for them. Agee kept his head down for much of the testimony. The case moves forward to a grand jury, which will decide whether or not to indict him. This is the moment a mother and father saw their daughters accused killers for the first time. Both men are currently sitting in jail, charged with murdering high school cheerleader Terry Rawls. Her parents were in the room as the men made their first court appearance. Friends and family of Terry Rawls filled the courtroom, many in tears, as Terry's own mother stood before the judge and begged for justice.
I'm Terry Rawls' mother. My daughter's supposed to graduate this year. She only needed 3 credits. She worked so hard.
By all accounts, Yolanda Snipes' daughter, Terry Rawls, was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Jesus.
It was more than enough time for everyone to feel her pain.
I want justice to be served for my child, please, Your Honor.
Manitou County detectives say Terry Rawls was out late with friends early morning when they ran into trouble.
Lost a daughter behind stupidity.
Witnesses told detectives that Terry and her friends drove away from a movie theater parking lot where they saw a fight break out. During the chaos, Terry was struck by a stray bullet.
A witness that actually witnessed the shooting at the movie theater came forward.
In court, Terry's father said he didn't think any bail should be set.
It happened again. I mean, just running around with guns acting crazy.
But the evidence isn't clear yet, and Terry's mother wasn't the only grieving mom with an opinion about what happened.
On behalf of my son, I don't believe within my heart. God have not shown me that he actually was the one that shot this child. But my compassion for the family do go out towards him.
Ultimately, the judge set each suspect's bond at $1 million. Emotions overflowed in a courtroom when a teenager confronted the man accused of killing her father. This is the girl who just lost her dad less than a month ago. She was overwhelmed by what she heard. Police say her father was shot and killed at this Shell gas station store on Glenwood Avenue in Decatur. It started with a fight inside the store but ended outside in the parking lot with several shots fired. When Myron Pierce's family found out he had been shot to death at the gas station, they were devastated. But when the prosecutor stated in court that Kevin Merriweather shot Pierce several times, some relatives couldn't hold back their emotions.
It went from 7 to 15, and you know, it's like he was hunted down like an animal.
Pierce's teenage daughter couldn't take it. Deputies removed her from the courtroom, and the prosecutor said Merriweather had scammed Pierce before. So when Pierce happened to run into him at the store on June 2nd, Pierce started punching him.
He was beating the crap out of my wife.
Police said Merriweather grabbed his gun and shot Pierce about 15 times, even chasing him out the door when he ran. Merriweather's attorney claimed it was self-defense.
Very understanding with me. You know, like you can go to your friends and talk about stuff, like stuff you wouldn't tell your parents. But it was him. I could go to him, talk to him about stuff. He was very, very understanding and real with me.
Several relatives outside the courthouse, including a younger daughter of the victim, said her father was her joy. The judge decided there would be no bond. 25-year-old Gordon Jackson looks happy in his mugshot, and he should be. Jackson is in jail, but lucky to be alive. Louisville Metro Police say Jackson was parked in front of his grandmother's house in the Shawnee neighborhood. A neighbor describes what happened next.
Some guys just jumped out of the car and just started shooting at the guy, and he retaliated back, and they sped off, and it was just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy neighborhood, though.
You can see where bullets hit the car Gordon Jackson was sitting in.
They let off about 20 rounds.
Into that fusion?
Yes, sir.
Was he in the car when that happened?
Yes, sir.
Despite the barrage of bullets, Jackson somehow avoided injury. LMPD says that after the shooting, Jackson tried to hide his gun on a window ledge outside his grandmother's home, but the cops found it. Police say the Glock 17, like this one, had been altered to fire as an automatic weapon. It turns out Jackson is a convicted felon, allegedly in possession of a firearm. He's charged with possessing that Glock, tampering with physical evidence, and possessing drug paraphernalia.
A lot of shooting, carjacking, a lot of stuff.
The person or persons who allegedly fired on Jackson as he sat in his car remain at large. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll was found in contempt of court after multiple guns were discovered in his home, violating his bond conditions. Knoll is accused of embezzling millions of dollars in local funds for personal use.
I told Mr. Knoll, don't do anything stupid. Do not try to deceive me, defy me. You will not like the consequences. Today is that day. You are not the law. You don't interpret the law. You don't enforce the law. You're not above the law. I find that you are in contempt of this court. Take him into custody. No, that's enough. I'll find you guys in contempt for disrupting the proceedings, and you'll be there right there with him. Now, what is an appropriate sanction? The question is, I can sentence him up to 180 days without a trial, or I can sentence him to a day, or I can release him. You know what I think the answer is? 60 days in. That's what I think the answer is today. Now, Mr. Wilder.
Yes, Your Honor.
Or Mr. Boyles, I apologize, Mr. Boyles, your lead. Before he is released, I'll take your suggestion. I want an independent individual to scour that household to determine that there's no further weapons. I find it, Mr. Ertle's original argument that he was trying to make that I sustained, an officer of the law, every time I go into court, I hear, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was there. I really didn't. You've heard that a million times. You've heard it a million times, and yet you still take them into custody, would be my guess. Every officer in the world has heard, I didn't know it was there. It's my friends. I'm not buying it. It was your burden. It's your responsibility. And today, the court will enforce that. Take him away.
Seeking revenge is a common human instinct, but it can sometimes lead a person down a dark path. That's what happened in this case.
A felony, as charged in count 1 of the amended information, and fix the degree thereof as murder in the first degree. Dated today's date, signed the foreperson.
On December 31st, 2020, in San Diego County, Jade Jenks took the life of her stepfather, Tom Merriman. No matter how hard a criminal tries to hide their actions, they will eventually be discovered.
Stephen Jenks. My name is Steve Jenks. I'm Jade's father. Jade and I left Texas and her mother when she was around 3 months old. I was a single parent and responsible for raising the most beautiful, happy little girl. She received all the love a child could want from friends and family. Jade has always been kind and loving to humans and animals alike. She could not bear to see anyone hurt or an animal abused. She has grown up. She had found love of design and business. The various jobs she had, she excelled in and was loved by her associates. She had joined my construction company when she was in her early 20s and in no time developed my tile and stone design center. I was extremely proud father. She then branched out in her own design business and thrived. I held my head high as she proved to be extremely capable. She is dealing with today is totally unjust. Firstly, I can only imagine what she went through when she found out that Tom, her stepfather, a person she trusted, that she called dad, was a sick, perverted individual. Not for 1 minute do I believe that Jade premeditated, planned, or would ever deliberately take a life. I do not believe her heart would allow that. Being the person I know her to be, she is my only daughter that I love dearly. All I can say is this fight is not over. I truly believe that an injustice has taken place. This case was not won on its merit. It was won based on an Oscar-winning performance by the DA, a true travesty. I can only hope that Jade has the opportunity to be released through the appeal process, where the facts are reviewed and judgment is based on the reality, not assumption or a DA's performance. Thank you, Your Honor.
Those closest to a suspect often know intricate details about them. They are like Pandora's box. Once opened, the revelations can be shocking.
Your Honor, what sets this case apart from others is the amount of time dedicated to planning Tom's captured in real time by the defendant's smartphone. Her thoughts, her feelings, her deliberations, all captured by her phone. From the moment she discovered the photos, she began planning. Never reaching out to friends, never reaching out to family, never reaching out to Tom's landlord or even to Tom to confront him. Those are options she considered for 8 days and 8 nights, and she chose against it, and she chose. She made the personal choice of Tom, and it was captured on December 30th, 2020 at 12:04 p.m. I struggle with moral issues, yet I will not be looking over my shoulder, so I made the call. What does that mean? Quote, it means everything you think it does. It means that she was going to lull Tom into a false sense of security before she sprung her trap. It meant that when she picked up Tom, she was going to make sure to appear loving to the nurse, Devin Ward. It meant that to secure his trust, she was going to buy him alcohol and chocolates before she did him with painkillers and sleeping pills. It meant that she was going to care for him so that she could kill him. Once he was knocked out, sleeping, and helpless, she still could have pulled back. When Alan Roach was telling her that he wasn't coming, she could have abandoned her plot, yet she continued. When Brian Solomon showed up and ran away after she asked him to strangle Tom, she could have abandoned it then, but yet she continued. She was implacable. Nothing could stop her. Especially not after Tom opened his eyes, only to see the world out through the inside of a grocery bag or pillowcase or both. And we know Tom was waking up because she said so in her own words. Not during her testimony, but in her text messages. He's very aware right now. I'm on my own. And when the were wearing off and the bag wasn't Tom fast enough, that's when she got close and personal and strangled Tom to death. After trying to get her friend Adam to move the body and stage it to look like an overdose, she beat Tom in the driveway like a piece of trash. And now she's attacking Tom and her father as well. In her probation interview, the defendant said, quote, "They twisted so many things about what I said." And both on cross and direct examination, she had ample opportunity to explain her words in those text messages, what she did. And what was twisted about her testimony was how she twisted the truth. She twisted the text message, "I just dosed the hell out of him," to "he dosed himself." And the jury rejected her twisted tales for the unreasonable and incredible testimony that it was. Now, what's twisted is the plot that she hatched to kill Tom, where she decided to be Tom's judge, jury, and executioner. What's twisted is dosing someone so that they're defenseless and vulnerable. What's twisted is suffocating someone with a plastic bag over their head, watching them squirm as they gasp for air, referring to them as a kicking body in her car. What's twisted is the defendant strangling Tom with her own hands in the back of her car while he had a bag over his head and was paralyzed from the dose that she gave him. While no sentence can bring back Tom, we ask the court to impose the only just sentence in this case, 25 years to life, and give Tom's family and loved ones a sense of justice. And we want the court to end with the people's statement with the victim's family. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Fong. Thank you.
When a crime is committed, many questions arise. Numerous clues and events need to be explained. During this time, many chilling details often come to light that would otherwise have remained hidden.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Flanagan. I am the CEO and co-founder of Butterfly Farms and Luca Michaela Nursery. Tom and I were partners and friends for over a decade. I met Tom sometime in 2009 or 2010. I was looking to lease some property in Vista to start a nursery. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, and it was just an idea I had. And then looking at the property and meeting the landowner, I was introduced to Tom. And Tom was the other tenant on this 5-acre parcel. He was already there and established and selling palm trees. And Tom was described to me by the gentleman who owned the property as very intelligent, hardworking, very compassionate about his work, and also he talked a lot about the customer service that he received and when he met Tom and bought palm trees from Tom prior to Tom even coming down there. So those two had a relationship. And in the first year or two, I struggled to get my business off the ground. I had some health issues. I was run over on my bicycle by car. I had just put some equipment, and I had some tractors and trucks and things like that I kept out there, but I wasn't open for business, and I really was struggling with my health because of the injuries that I had received. And I had already signed the lease, and I remember going to the farm one day, and I told him, I'm done. I can't do this. I need to just sit at home and heal from these injuries. And so I tried to back out of my lease, and I had to meet with Tom and the property owner at that time. And they said, don't worry about it. Your stuff's safe here. Go home and heal. Don't pay rent. Don't come back here. Don't just heal and come back. This will be here for you. And so I reluctantly did that. I left, and I was gone for approximately 6 months while I healed. Doctors thought it would take longer, but I healed quicker, and I got back to work. And when I got back, I found all my equipment in perfect shape. And Tom was there, obviously, and he was really interested in where I'd been and what had happened to me. And I started to spend more time at the farm every day, pretty much 7 days a week. I had another business I had started, but I was already looking to sell it, and I really wanted to spend my time at the farm after I had healed from my injuries. It was a great environment to be outside all day, and I felt like I could get stronger by doing the hard work that was needed to get my project off the ground. And as I worked to get my project off the ground, I spent more and more time with Tom, and I realized that Tom was very intelligent. The way it was described, he was very hardworking and very intelligent and willing to be there 7 days a week. And that became a very motivating for me to look at and decide to partner. The two of us agreed on a partnership. Each of us brought certain things to the table. Tom brought a contractor's license. He was bonded. He had an extensive knowledge of the industry. I had my skill set, and he had inventory, so it seemed like a perfect match. So we started the nursery business together at that point. That was sometime in 2010. And as we developed the business and opened up to the public and started to sell things to the public, one Friday night after we had closed, we had a kitchen and a fire pit, and you could live on the farm. In fact, some people did. Tom and I didn't. But we're sitting around the fire and having a beer and talking about the project and what we foresaw of what we were going to do. And we talked about the fact that we needed to get more traffic. We were looking at ideas of how we could get more people to take notice of us. There's a ton of nurseries in Vista, and our point of differentiation just wasn't there. So we talked about that. And Tom or Robert, the landowner, one of the two of them brought up this idea of butterflies. And my head immediately went to the hummingbird display at the San Diego Zoo. As a kid, I spent a lot of time at the zoo, and that was one of my favorite parts of the zoo, was the hummingbirds and going in that cage and watching the hummingbirds fly around. And in my mind's eye, what I saw was I replaced the hummingbirds with butterflies. And I thought, hey, that's a really cool idea. No idea what that entailed or envisioned. But I went along with it. I thought that was a great idea. And Tom very quickly made an appointment for us to go down to see the monarch program. They had been doing monarch butterfly conservation work in Acadia for 25 years. Our kids had all gone there on field trips. In fact, I was supposed to go on a field trip with my daughter, and we had gotten rained out, so I knew the property, the facility. So I took that opportunity to go with Tom to meet this gentleman that ran this place. And when I went there, I was both intrigued and sad at the same time, because I saw that there was a huge opportunity missing. They were teaching kids in a very archaic manner with old slide projectors. The facility was rather dirty. The gentleman that ran it seemed a bit off. So I saw a huge opportunity, and we left, and I talked to Tom about it, and I said, I can see what we're talking about here. I could see it. I could see the business plan. I could see the logo. It all just sort of appeared to me. And then Tom and I got back to the farm, and we very quickly we brought on another board member and we filed with the IRS for our 501c3 certificate so that we could run as a nonprofit. And but even while that was pending, we went to work. We wrote the business plan and we started to build out the infrastructure to do the work, which was to display butterflies and offer education. We had to write the curriculum. There wasn't anything out there. And Tom was just like the people like that don't come along very often. Somebody that's willing to work for nothing to start something that is just a dream, and there is no guarantee that we were going to go anywhere with it except maybe just down the drain. But we were lucky. We were next door to an elementary school, and as soon as the curriculum was written, I went next door and I talked to the school and I said, hey, this is what we're doing next door. And they're in elementary school and they said, that's fantastic. All of our second graders need that education. That's a component of this year's education for these kids. So we'll bring them over. And it was just an awe-inspiring day to watch those school kids walk over from next door. Literally, we shared a fence. They walked over. We could walk them. We could hear them walking down the street, and they filtered in. We had built an outdoor classroom with electronics, and we had written the program. We sat them down, and we delivered our first educational workshop. That day was about 90 students. And that would have been about 2012. And that's really where it began for Tom and I. And we took that and we did that day after day, 7 days a week for nearly a decade before Tom died. And, Tom and I, during that time, working 7 days a week, long, hard hours, both of us found a lot of similarities. We were both raised in large families. We were both raised in the church.
Superior Court of the State of California for the County of San Diego, the people of the State of California plaintiff versus Jade Sasha Jenks, defendant. Case number SCN 420772. Verdict, count 1, first-degree murder. We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Jade Sasha Jenks, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187, subsection A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the amended information, and fix the degree thereof as murder in the first degree, dated today's date, signed the foreperson. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, was this and is this your verdict as read?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, does either side wish to have the jury poll?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please poll the jury?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please answer with a yes or no, answer only, as to count 1, first-degree murder. Was this and is this your verdict as read? Juror number 1.
Yes.
Number 2.
Yes.
Number 3.
Yes.
Number 4.
Yes.
Number 5.
Yes.
Number 6.
Yes.
Number 7.
Yes.
Number 8.
Yes.
Number 9.
Yes.
Number 10.
Yes.
Number 11.
Yes.
Number 12.
Yes.
Your Honor, I record 12 affirmative responses.
All right, Madam Clerk, please record the verdict.
So recorded, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive reading of the verdict as recorded?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
To this particular case, I do believe that the defense effectively and appropriately presented to the jury the provocation and mitigation that existed in this case on behalf of Ms. Jenks. I do believe that the jury was appropriately instructed and considered the provocation. I think they considered the mitigation. And I think that the jury ultimately determined that it didn't justify Ms. Jenks' actions. And therefore, they found her guilty of first-degree murder, and I do believe that the evidence supported their conclusion. In this particular case, she is presumptively ineligible for probation pursuant to Penal Code Section 1203E3. I don't believe there are any unusual circumstances which would be appropriate for a grant of probation. Even if she were eligible for probation, I believe under Rule 4.414B2 that her prior performance was unsatisfactory and probation would not be appropriate in this case. Therefore, probation will be denied. She will be committed to the Department of Corrections for the term of the rest of her life in prison, with a minimum eligibility of parole date for 25 years from now. So in essence, 25 years to life. She will receive credits of 131 actual, 0 good time credits pursuant to Penal Code Section 2933.2, for a total of 131 days credit. She is ordered to pay a restitution fine in the amount of $300, an additional restitution fine in the amount of $300 to be stayed and remain so unless her post-release supervision is revoked. I will strike the court security fee, the ICNA fee. I will order that restitution be paid to the family in an amount to be determined at a later date by the court. I will also order that the Victims' Compensation Program be paid an amount of $2,690.40 pursuant to claim ending 924. All other claims will be reserved as well. Does she wish to waive her presence, Mr. Carlos, if there is a future request?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll indicate the 977 waiver. She is to submit the DNA testing pursuant to Penal Code Section 296. All fines, fees, and restitution to be paid forthwith or as provided in Penal Code Section 2085.5.
Accidents happen, but what would you do if the accident resulted in someone's death? That was the dilemma the court faced in this case.
When we were younger, and she always had my back, you stole that from me.
In 2023, in Cleveland Heights, Joshua Ward took the life of his ex-girlfriend, Sheena Seitz. The judge outlined the crimes committed by Joshua and explained the process before sentencing him.
All rise.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This Court of Common Pleas is now in session pursuant to statute. The Honorable William T. McGinty presiding.
You may be seated. Thank you. So we're going to go on the record in case number 677967, captioned State of Ohio versus Joshua Ward, who's present in court here today with Nancy Jameson and Thomas M. Shaughnessy as his attorneys. The State of Ohio is represented by Assistant County Prosecutor Carl Mazzone. And we're here for purposes of sentencing, as I indicated. So I would just like the record to reflect on April the 3rd, 2024. The defendant entered into a plea agreement with the State of Ohio where he pled guilty to count 3, involuntary manslaughter, a felony of the first degree with the 3-year specification. And he pled guilty to count 4, which is felonious assault in violation of a felony of the second degree with a 3-year specification. And he as well pled guilty to count 6, having a weapon under disability, a felony of the 3rd degree. At the plea hearing, the parties stipulated that the sentence would be recommended to the trial court of a 25-year sentence. I would indicate for the record that the court, prior to coming in here today, has reviewed the reports dated April 24th, 2023, where a sanity evaluation was conducted, and also a report dated April 24th, where a competency to stand trial evaluation, both authored by Dr. Adele Schaefer, board-certified psychiatrist from the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court Psychiatric Clinic. And she signed both of those reports. So the court would further would like to indicate that we're all here in the courtroom here today, and we all have a right to be here. And that's what's great about this country. All right, we come into court here, we settled a horrible situation, and now it's time for the sentence to come in here. So I'd like everybody for 1 second, just listen. And I say that is because in this courtroom right here, we're not here for disputes. We're here to settle this case, pronounce a sentence, and let the defendant
in this particular case, do his time. At the end of the hearing here today, the silence that we just heard should also be present after this case concludes. All right? We have a bunch of deputies here in the abundance of caution, and hopefully there's going to be no need for any deputies to do anything other than stand here and be present. Okay? So, the procedure that we'll go through here first, I'm going to tell you the process that we're going to go through. Then the state of Ohio will make its presentation. At that time, we'll hear victim impact. And then the court will hear from the defense and from the defendant if he chooses to testify or provide a statement. Thereafter, the court will sentence the defendant. The court would like to indicate in all in the courtroom here today that I operate under rules of called the Ohio Revised Code, and it's the principles and purposes of felony sentencing. And it says to me that I have to formulate my decision based upon the overriding principles and purposes of felony sentencing, namely to protect the public from future crime by this defendant and others, and to punish the offender using the minimum sanctions that the court determines accomplish those purposes without imposing an unnecessary burden on state or local government resources. To achieve these purposes, the court has considered the need for incapacitation, deterrence, rehabilitation, and providing for restitution. The court must and has also considered the seriousness and recidivism factors relevant to the offense and the offender. The court will ensure that the sentence being imposed does not demean the seriousness of the offense, the impact it has on the victim, and is consistent with other similar offenses committed by like offenders. Finally, the sentence is not based on any impermissible purposes, namely the race, ethnic background, and gender or religion of Mr. Ward.
When a child loses their mother, they experience profound sorrow. No child ever wants to lose their mother.
How do you spell your last name, Robert?
S-E-A-T-S, the third.
Thank you, Mr. Cease, for appearing here pursuant to Marcy's law.
All right. Good morning, Joshua. I just wanted to come up here and speak highly of my mom and like talk about what's left behind, pretty much. And it's not anything good. Like, I was already giving up as a child, you feel me? I was already giving up, and I felt like I wasn't a part of this family. And I do everything I can to come back around and show my loyalty. I love my mom, bro, and I appreciate everything she did for me, man. I wouldn't be who I am today without her, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. For real. I'm trying to be strong, but I can't see my mom again, bro. And I'm trying to figure out who I'm doing this for, man. I look behind me, man. I got my family with me. I got my brother. I'm doing it for them, bro. I'm doing it for Nina. I'm doing it for everybody, man. For real. Look at me. Like, and it hurt, though. It really hurt, man. It hurt. You was good, for real, bro. You was good in my eyes. I just don't know what changed, man. And it's 100. We used to play video games, all types of stuff, man. Like, it's all good, though. Cause we here today, and we gonna figure out what's gonna happen next. And I'm gonna keep on fighting for my family, man. We gonna make it out. One thing for sure. You feel me? I ain't Robert Cease III for no reason. You feel me? For no reason, man. It's all good. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, Your Honor.
Your name is, say it again.
Kyle Bland Jr.
K-Y-L-E?
Yes, sir.
Bland, B-L-A-N-D?
Yes, sir.
Junior. Mr. Bland, thank you for appearing here today. What do you want me to hear?
I just wanted to come up here and speak on my mom.
I just really wanted to ask a question, like, what happened? Like, I talked to you 2 nights before it happened. You said, like, I love y'all, I gotta go, You said, these the passwords to the game, these the passwords to my emails. You said, I love y'all, I gotta go. You feel me? I played the game with you every night. I called you like, damn, like, why you ain't been in the game? Like, what's going on? I don't even know, bro. Yeah, it's like, you know what I've been through, you feel me? You know what I've been through, bro. And you know, like, I just got back cool. My brother just passed. You feel me? You took all that away from me, bro. Took all that away from me, bro. Like, I don't even be doing what I be doing on here, bro. I don't even know, bro. They murdered my niece. My son don't got no grandma no more. You know my dad in my life. Like, just, no, bro. My brother, like, you took everything away from where I know, man. I wouldn't even understand. Hey, my brother being an outcast, like, oh, my mom was born, he had me. My dad in jail, bro. Like, I don't got nobody, bro. My mom gone, my dad in jail, bro. You crazy, bro. You crazy, bro. You know how much hurt he did. Like, I'm the reason why he even came back, Jay. I'm the reason, bro. Like, you crazy, bro. She asked me, like, she won't be with nobody, bro. I came back in the house. I moved out because I was with my girl. She said I'm lonely. I'm about to just have Jay back. Is it cool? I said, yeah, we playing the game. Everything was straight, bro. I don't even know, bro. Like, that's just the most craziest thing of all. Like, you had to be off drugs or something. Like, I don't understand, like, how that can just. She loved you. Everybody gave up on you, Jay. You know that. You know nobody was with you. Nobody was. You know that, bro. Nobody was with you but my mom, bro. Nobody, bro. She was the only one who looked. I ain't even know why she was with you, bro. You older than me, bro. And you looked up to me. How you think that made me feel as a man? Like, it wasn't like I can look up to you to anything. You played the game. I didn't understand. She provided for you, bro. 2 cars. You ain't had no car. You ain't had no house, bro. Your kids wanted your life, bro. She believed in you, bro. She loved you more than she loved me, bro. Okay. I love my mom. You feel me? We gonna continue to make her name live as a family. We gonna do the best we gotta do. We gonna have to do that. I just really wanted to know, like, if I did, I don't understand.
Thank you, Mr. Bland.
How would a loved one react if you took away one of the closest people in their family? The only thing that remains in their heart is anguish and pain.
My name is Letitia Seeds. S-E-A-T-S. Seeds, not sheets. This picture right here is a picture of me and my sister when we were younger, and she always had my back. You stole that from me. You understand? You understand? You see this picture? Each year we would all get together to celebrate our birthdays every year, but in 2023, 2022 was the last year we were able to celebrate with all of us since you took her life in January 23. Man, is this why you her? Is this why you did it? Why she? Because she was family oriented and had a family, cared for us deeply. Were you jealous for real? I deal with mental issues. You know that. You know that. You know I do. I couldn't even come on my house, and I was still suffering. This was the last birthday I was able to celebrate with my sister. The last, look at her, peacefully at my house. Her and my other sister. Because I didn't want to go nowhere, you knew that. This right here. This is her oldest grandson that she would never ever see grow up into a man. And he called you Papa. And he called you Papa. And he wanted you. He said, Jay, where Jay at? All the kids. And this right here, and my daughter. This is how she had to see my daughter graduate from Tiffin University. She had, this is my life now. I have no life. I don't. And you always heard me say, can I share your grandkids? And then she said, yeah, you gonna have one. And guess what I did? And guess what? She not gonna ever see him. She never gonna see him ever. You took her. You thought she didn't have nobody. What you do? And this right here, these are my brothers and my sister. My brother got married, and this is how she had to come to the wedding. You see that? This is a picture. It says, we know you will be here today if heaven wasn't so far away. Do you understand? Do you understand? You're not crazy. You're not crazy. Okay? This again, her birthday party. Her birthday party. Look at this. This is how we had to celebrate her. This is how. This is how we celebrated her birthday. You don't even understand.
Okay, we don't need to be yelling.
And this right here, she has a room at my house. And this is how I see her every day. She go to sleep, she has her own bed, she has her own TV, I collect her mail. This is the only way that I can go. And this right here, let me show you something. This picture right here, November 23rd of 2023. I tried to kill myself. I was dead for 30 seconds. I went into cardiac arrest. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to think. I just wanted my sister. And you have no clue. She has family. You know her family. Is this who you said you seen beating over her head? Over your head? This is her father. This her son. Is this Tyler who you said you seen beating over your head? And guess what? Look at her. She loved you. She loved you, man. Even when we told her not to go back into you, she loved you. She loves you. And you sitting there, man. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nobody. I disregard my family because I don't know how to love. I don't know how to love. And and if these people that you said you seen, you're alive. Because these people right here, you will never see them because you're never gonna go where they at. You're not, okay? You're not going to jail. You're not. Just face it, okay? You did what you did. I promise you. You're not a monster. You're not crazy. I'm crazy. I'm crazy and I can admit it. I am crazy.
The difficult task of delivering a just sentence fell upon the judge. They had to ensure that the victim's family received closure while also giving the suspect an appropriate sentence for his terrible crimes.
The entire file, as I indicated earlier, and was here for the plea, met with the parties on the record, talked about the plea, and I believe that the sentence that the parties have come to is a reasonable sentence, and it is consistent with the principles and purposes of felony sentencing. With all sentences that are being imposed here today, post-release control is a portion of that sentence. That means upon your release from prison, you will be on a minimum mandatory 2 years to a maximum of 5 years supervision by the Adult Parole Authority. Why I have to say that to you is because it has meaning going forward. Upon your release from prison, you'll be on the supervision of that parole board, and you'll have a post-release control officer. If you fail to abide by the terms and conditions of the supervision, your officer could ask for a hearing before the board. And if they found you to be in violation, they could return you to prison without a trial, okay? Return you to prison for up to 1/2 the sentence that I gave here today, but never more than 9 months at any one time. You understand that, Mr. Ward?
Yes, Your Honor.
You further understand if you fail to go see your post-release control officer, you could be indicted for the felony crime of escape. As such, as a felony, if you commit any felony, including escape, while under post-release control, when the new case comes before a judge, either after a plea or after a trial, at the sentencing hearing, that judge would have the authority to punish you for violating post-release control in addition to the new sentence that you received. And that punishment could be up to a 1-year consecutive sentence, or in a case like yours, because there's up to 5 years of discretionary post-release control after the mandatory minimum of 2, they could convert that portion of that mandatory, they could convert that portion of the post-release control supervision time to a prison sentence and run that consecutively. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And that applies to count 1 will control, since that's the felony of the first degree, and that's a mandatory minimum of 2 to a maximum of 5. Okay. So as to the sentence themselves, as to count 3, the indictment for involuntary manslaughter with the 3-year specification, the court imposes the maximum sentence of 11 years at the Lorraine Correctional Institute to be served after the 3-year specification in this count of the indictment. As to count 4, the defendant is sentenced to 8 years, which is the maximum sentence for the crime of felonious assault, along with a 3-year specification. As to count number 5, it is a sentence that he'll have 3-year sentence to run concurrent with counts 3 and 4. Now, I have to go back to counts 3 and 4 and indicate that you have pled guilty to specifications in each count. So before you start the substantive sentence, you will have to do your 6 years of the specification. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Afterwards, your sentence will then take place. Since you have a maximum sentence of 11 and a maximum sentence of 8 for counts 3 and 4, 11 and 8 equals 19, plus the year specifications, your minimum time that you're going to serve in prison is 25 years. Do you understand that? At that point, the court has to impose what's called Reagan-Todt sentencing, folks. And what that means is that I have to give an additional sentence of time in the event that the defendant does not show conduct becoming of an inmate, or he could receive additional time when it's due to be released. That would be caused by a hearing before the prison system, and they would determine whether or not he gets out after 25 years. If they decide that they have to hold him, again, the maximum they can be held pursuant to the Reagan-Todt sentencing provisions is 30.5 years. Additionally, the court would indicate that pursuant to statute, he will be given jail time credit in the amount of 449 days. And just so you understand, Mr. Ward, that time will not be attributed to your sentence until after you do the 6 years, at which time you receive that jail time credit. Sir, I'm going to order that the costs be paid for this case, and that you do so doing community service while in the institution. There'll be no fine imposed right here. Is there anything further on behalf of the state of Ohio?
There isn't, Your Honor.
Is there anything further on behalf of the defense?
Your Honor, we would just ask that the record would reflect our objection to Ray and Tokes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I want to conclude this hearing by saying is that this has been a very emotional hearing. And it's not the first emotional hearing that I've been in. I've been in many as a defense lawyer. But the only consolation that I can say to everybody here today, and honestly, your presence is required at these hearings under Marcy's law. Families have to let other family members know what's going on in the community. All right? I heard people, and I think I lost at count of 3 or 4 violent deaths in the family. Okay? This is just horrible. And yet I know that the young lady that just left Miss Seats, that she was so upset she had to leave the courtroom. All right? And I know that what she was trying to say, and that she's never going to be able to find the right words that she wants to talk about the loss that she has. Okay? And let me leave you with this. There was a famous defense lawyer in Cuyahoga County. And he would say during portions of his argument, and I heard it many times, that God gave us memories so we have roses in December. And what it means is that your loved one may be gone, but never forgotten in your heart, never forgotten in your minds, and never forgotten that binds you all together here with her thoughts. Okay?
Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.